Good morning, good evening. Thank you for listening. I hope you're well where you sit. This is a medical cannabis show, and I like to respect the law and respect organics and sustainability. So that's what I'll be promoting. So I hope you respect the law too and sustainability. Today, I'm going to be discussing, there it is, photoperiodism a little bit, some plant stresses stuff, some new charts came out, and some fungi follow-up from last week, a bit of stuff I forgot to put in. So I'll wait a little bit. G'day to Aaron Hopkins, hope you're well, mate. You jumped in a smidge earlier, good on you, mate. Hope you're having a good day. I'll give it a little bit of time for some stragglers to come in, and then I'll start talking about some new stuff. So some cool things happened this week in cannabis news. Some new legalizations, plant stuff. It's been good. Positive news. Better health for everybody. All right, that'll do. Present. All right, I'll start sharing. Sharing. So this is the slides to get through today. It's a handful, not too many though. It's more just showing stuff. It's not a great deal of discussion. But Bahamas introduces a bill to legalize cannabis for medicinal and religious purposes. On your Bahamas. It's not short. Actually, I'll just say what the news says. Some other news was, well, that's not what I wanted. The Health and Human Services Department in USA is calling for cannabis to be rescheduled. This is huge news. So that means it's going to be federally legal, and that introduces a whole lot of everything. That's really, really positive. So yes, good on legislation to finally happen. They're moving it from, they'd like to move it from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug. So that's not even Schedule 2, they're going to skip that bit. So that's just so huge. And the world will follow suit. Yay, it's positive. And this one says, cannabis projects recalled due to prosperous to Aspergillus. This was the fungi follow-up stuff. I had some stuff from that I didn't put in. So this was, they only really tested in the States for 2 types of fungus, Aspergillus being one of them. And that they were saying that in Arizona there's been some recalls. The levels have been too high, their irradiation hasn't gotten rid of it. All right, what else? Here we go. I thought this would be nice. It's a nice day. Yes, sun's out, temperatures are warming. Yes, so that's pretty good. Today, and this is interesting. Look at this jungle. You think, oh gosh, and yeah, it is a bit of a jungle. How can it be fixed up? That's what it looks like after it's fixed up. You can see that's where it's been brought back to. Maybe some pruning and training and screening. Lovely time. Probably day 10. Flower. So yes, there's the difference from that. It's lovely that. You can see right the way to the end. It's perfect. Light, air movement, so much more benefits. Oh, okay. Oh, this was just to put in to show how much effort there is from breeding plants, and it shows you the rigmarole and hassles that go through. So after this one, the F1 seed was harvested in April. and it goes through and it's planted out into the indoor grow rooms, transplanted, different stocks have been put in, it's been extended through a few more generations, F2 to F4. Then the F4s are planted. Then they produce some F6s after that to F7 generations. The F stands for Friar, F-R-I-R, so generations. And then breeder seeds possibly put out right after that. So yeah, 7 generations. So how long is that going to take? If you do it outdoors, that's 7 years. That's a breeding thing. That's got no real relevance, but I thought I'd put it in. And this is, I thought I'd put this in too, because this is just real blooming nice. You can tell the width. I was comparing, if you put the fingers facing the ground behind it, you can see that definitely that's going to be at least a 4 fingery. At least that's nice. You can see all the bracts or calyxes upon calyxes just pounded out. If anything's a bit too big, very good. This is some biosafety stuff that's really important, that stops the spread of pests and diseases. So if you see leaves like that are wilting and you've got problems on them, you pick them off and look under them, and if they've got the dots on them, that's insect larvae or some type of microbes multiplying. It's insects, not microbes, because they're pretty small at a microbe level. But yeah, they could be beneficial too, mind you. That's not always a bad sign to see stuff like that. But if your plants are wilting and got problems, like spots or anything like that, there's a chance that might be breeding problems. So picking them off is a good practice. So yeah, that's what good leaves should look like. Here's some old time Cheech and Chong still smoking after 5 decades of cannabis icons. So it's pretty full on, 5 decades, I reckon. It's still looking pretty good. You can see it doesn't really age that much. Oh, and this is a nice greenhouse in Colombia. And I thought I'd put it in because it's just nice. It's nice and organized. It's rather tall though, but that allows for a fair bit of heat to be gathered, and you can get rid of the heat that way. So it would have been built, this might have been a hot region, not near Bogota or anything. It'd be out in the north where it's a bit more warmer. She's wanted to say that. And this is some of the stuff that's come out of it. Rather nice. Pretty good there, mate. Buenos dias. Good day. This is a cup winner in Dusseldorf in Germany. Very nice. You can see the size of the thumb there for a bit of a comparison. It's like everything these days. Everything's just tight. And that can be more colourful, but a lot of things are colourful. Might be out in the sun anyway. Oh, and this is a cool flowering thing. I'm going to get to that. I'll go through the fungi thing from last week. Fungi follow-up. Actually, before the fungi follow-up, I'll see if there's anyone has arrived. I'll say g'day. Oh, yeah. Hey, brother, how you going, mate? Nice to see you. Morning, Blinky. How are you? Hey, another top bloke. How are you? Sure, bro. Blinky says, getting weirdly warmer in southwest. Vic, nearly time, methinks. But yes, it is. As soon as the frost starts to drop off, you're pretty much right. I'll go through some slides a bit later and show you how that happens. Hey, Brett Chandler, how's it going, mate? Hope you're doing well, mate. Yes, trying to put some slides together just to put together some all right show. I just showed the legislation, how the US is actually, I'll just share this for the latecomers because it's pretty important. And then I'll get back to the slides. Is it this one? No. Yeah. The Health and Human Services Department in the USA want to change the schedule for cannabis from Schedule 1, which is really bad, to Schedule 3, which is really not that bad. So that's virtually federally legalizing it in the USA. And you know what happens from that. It's just nearly got to happen everywhere. Australia's just got to listen. So it's yay. All right, back to the slides. Oh, that's that photo I'll show you later on about time to get stuff out. Yes, you can, as long as frost has stopped. Where are we up to? Oh, this must be one of these slides. Really? Is up to that one? No, it's up to fungi. That's right, fungi stuff. So psilocybe, it's the only drug as well as cannabis that I support because it's used, because it's so effective. So I'm not going to go through all this, but there's 14 psilocybe cubensis cultivars. Actually, no, there's not. There's quite a few other different genuses in there. No, psilocybin. Yeah, psilocybe. Yeah, and then what's the last bit? The species. So the cubensis, there's only a few cubensis in there. All right, next. And this is a pretty plate of different fungi, and you can see the yeast is the one with these ones are hyphae sticking out of them. That's the mold, and these ones are the yeasts. And it's just a nice little portrait of some plates that are put together. Very nice. It looks pretty cool, eh? All different types of ones. This is pretty full on. This is this person managed to regenerate peyote from a callus culture. So they tissue cultured the peyote here and put it in the growth medium, and it grew. And then there you can see it start to form its little plantlet. So that's pretty cool. It's the two fungi diseases that are main in cannabis, medicinal cannabis. White powdery mildew on the top, downy mildews underneath. What's the other one? Leaf miners, no. Fungus gnats, no. Ah. This was a study that was done to find out the efficiency, or I'll read it. The single dose amount of psilocybin for a person. So I take 0.7 if I have to do it, my cubensis cultivar, and they found that a 25 milligram dose of psilocybin was associated to reduce depressive symptoms and functional disability. So it's not much at all. So that's a one-hit dose, which they're charging $15,000 to $25,000 in Australia now, but they've legalised it, and props to them. At least they've started it. So that's why I can start talking about this stuff, because it works really well. Not just well, really, really well. Oh, yeah, there's the zoom in of it. Should see if there's any questions, shouldn't I? I do have the tablet open. This was something, if you see these in the leaves, you think the spots, these are bad spots. So what are these spots? So that's what it looks like when you zoom back. And it's not from any leaf burn or any nutrient burn or anything like that. It's from septoria. That's what, if you put it under the microscope, that's what you'll expect to see, septoria. And here's the test results from it showing. You can see, where's the scale where it says what they are? Oh, really? All right, you're going to have to just trust me. Septoria, these are the different things it can test for, and this is septoria. So it's a positive down here, which means it's detected. So I'll just scroll back through again. If you see it looking like that, yep, septoria is a fungal problem, which means that it's probably from overwatering or from not enough moisture, sorry, from too much moisture remaining in your substrate. And this is a journey with psychedelic mushrooms from historical, biological, cultivational, medicinal, and biotechnical use. This is biotechnology use. This is a pretty good study that was only released a few days ago that I got to pay $51 for, and I'm not doing that because this is, I don't get paid for nothing. But it was pretty interesting. I think I got more on it. There's a PDF. I'm sure there's a PDF on that. So users not. What was that? No, it's not. Oh well, back to it. But yeah, that's, if you want to put that into a Google, you'll find out some uses that they're starting to do studies in it because it's legalized now in Australia. So there's been more studies that are getting paid for and companies can put money into, which is going to bring out different results, positive results for us. I thought this is pretty cool. To not feed hallucinogens to the alligators. So Fish and Wildlife Services has put out this sign because some people must be picking the bad fungi, feeding it to them, watching it goes on. Oh, this is pretty rad. This is just happy and positive in the mountains. Very nice. I like that. So pass the good energy on to you. Healthier meals by putting in, do you cook with hemp oil? Is that an alternative? I've been using it for a couple of years now. Quite a few years, actually. Why not? I'll see if there's any. I'll stop and say, g'day, 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 g'day. Hello, Lene. Hope you're well. PTSD and depression, 25k dose. Yes. Yeah, that's what Australia's charging, 25,000, 15,000 to 25,000, but it's under medicinal, like nurses and things like that. It's a two or 3 day program. You've got to go somewhere and stay there. But yeah, it's a great start because not many people have experience in it because it's been illegal for so blooming long. Now, finally, they recognise its medicinal qualities. The same with medical cannabis. It's so beneficial used in the right ways. Righto. This is a smidgen of history. It just shows that how long ago it actually goes back from. So long ago, Chinese medicine, the first mentions of cannabis can be found in an ancient Chinese book from 100 to 200 AD. That's not that long ago. But actually, the information comes from an ancient Chinese emperor dating back before 3000 BC. Oh, there you go. So and finally, it's only been outlawed in the last 100 or so years, and now they're finally legalizing it again. How do I get rid of that? All right. So the subscription thing down the bottom, thank you for the people that have done that. The $5 one is for the support, and I appreciate the help. $80 gets you a few private lectures. There's a dozen or so. I'm adding to them. Biomimicry is rad. Adding to that slowly. 150 gets a 20-minute video call and a novelty gift like a chart or something that I made. $300 is for a company more so, or for someone who's going through problems with their body and wants my educated opinion. I'm not a doctor, but I just can give you my educated opinion. Thank you. Oh, Canada jobs, entrepreneurships in cannabis. How can these cool folk make money out of the cool thing that we're all into? Gin and chronic. Okay, this looks like maybe an event or something. They've just mixed it up. I just thought it's relatively someone might be able to take this and do something with it. This is some pretty cool looking art. Morning, y'all, it says. Here, down from the south, down here. We're just loving our ways. This is an event, you can see. Coming up pretty soon. A little funky looking dude. Budman. Now, that's a cool thing, isn't it? Budman. I haven't heard anyone use that. That'd be a nice looking character. Budman, have your big, and wouldn't it? The only thing, Budman, he can't smell dank and rank, so it might be able to be a good job for those persons that don't want to shower much. Yeah, man, got a bad odor. Yeah, those buds, that's Budman for you. Oh, here was that fungi bit. So actually I put this in because this is a fungi poster. So some person's just done this. They've isolated some fungi in the States from bark and river and all that types of things, and they just plate it. I'm going to read it all. And yeah, and it looks pretty cool. And there you go. Oh, you can buy the high resolution download poster. So they've made money out of it. So that's why I put it into the entrepreneurships. Not really Kenner. Fungi, the fun fungi entrepreneurships. And I like that. It's pretty cool. I have to agree. Because there is, what's those Cheerios that people have? So why don't they have the lemon Wheaties? Where's everyone's Wheaties for brekkie? Woohoo! And that's some nice jewelry. So for the artist that's in you, you might be able to inspire some of that. Cut some out, maybe. I don't know how you'll do that. But that's just some cool graphics. Just that they're putting on fronts of containers and things like that these days. This is some nice art that's on the front of the container of hemp and lemon balm capsules. Very good. And here's some oil. So, you know, oil stores really well because cannabis flower can depreciate so fast. The dispensaries I used to sell to when I was working with the ACMPR, had their cannabis license in Canada, they used to say theirs used to last about 3 months, expired after 3 months, and they didn't want any ambertrikes in their weed that they used to buy. So I found that pretty interesting. So I haven't played around with that much. There's some pretty good information with that coming up soon. I'm taught this. Can I share that information? I suppose. I better not actually, because it hasn't happened yet. But there might be some good things happening with terpenes and testings of that sort of stuff from me coming up soon. And this is just to show how well oil stores, and it's very effective. It's if you're going to do it, you would, if you're going to make your own, because they charge top dollar for this, so you'd make your own, and it's very easy. You would use your slow cooker. You would put your green leaf material in with all the trikes on it that you want to put off. You'd put oil over the top. I use extra virgin olive oil and leave it there for 24 hours and filter it in, leave it on low temperature so it doesn't get above 55 Celsius or 150 F, because that'll start and deplete terpenes and cannabinoids. Remember, CBG is 55 and OC mean is 55 Celsius as well. And then put it in a pillowcase. And that's used to extract, to filter it. There you go, you got your oil. And if you get a 50% return, I say that's good. So if you start off with 1 litre of oil and get 50% back into your container, that's a good return, I say. And then you test it. This is the thing I was more so getting to, is you put I put 3 mils, puts me to sleep. So I would have put 2 mils into a teaspoon, had it and seen what that did, waited 2 hours. And then I'll know the next day, all right, I'll try 3 mils. Whoa, 3 mils is too much. That put me to sleep. So I want to feel like I'm going to nap. So therefore, I know that if I want to have an effective day dose, it'll be 2, and effective night dose would be 3. And it does last a lot longer being in your body than smoked. So it's very good as a sleeping tablet or to calm you down from an event. And this is some pineapple cake. Oh, look at it. Yes. If anybody has this, please get in touch. I like the pineapple. And this is, look at that. That's just ready to go. Thing is, oh, look at this looking steel. No, you look a bit closer. Look at that. They got little reservoirs put in there, ready to feed. All ready to go. Fully, look at all the wiring, the lighting. See over here would be all under these trunks nicely. It's got all external trunking up here. Oh, yes. A little air at the end. Really good. Ceiling, HVAC done. I just liked it because it's, it's just ready to go. Plant stresses. Ooh, okay. So sources of environmental stress. So plants can stress from abiotic or biotic stresses. So there's environment, which is the abiotic, because it doesn't have living things in it. So it's the biotic is with bio things that live, like fungus, microbes. So once it's stressed, it activates different pathways, and it's those pathways in medical cannabis that we want. And you can see here from some effects on some fruit color that nitrogen deficiency has increased once depleting the nitrogen in apples. And from water deficit, from depleting the water, it's actually increased the anthocyanins in grapes. Too much light has decreased the lycopene, that's the color pigment in tomatoes. And cold stress has actually increased the anthocyanins in mangoes and also cannabis. I did a study over a few years ago. You can look under my playlist for that on how to bring out your color pigment or anthocyanins in cannabis. And it actually works really, really well. Really well. 18 degrees Celsius for 4 hours after day 40 grows 1 millimeter of anthocyanin, your color pigment in your cannabis. You do that 4 times and you've got your rad. So if you were extracting, for instance, you've just got all these antioxidants, properties that are going to make more beneficial for it to add into your oil. And finish upping on this chart, the high temperatures actually decreased anthocyanins. Cool. This is a chart just showing leaf senescence. The average cannabis leaf lasts about 40-45 days. And this just shows some different processes and pathways that have been activated through its senescence, or when it's dying, senescing. So up here is a timeline showing its percents of nitrogen that was retained in it. So 95 up here, and it goes down through a timeline. They've got T1, T2, 4, and down here is the day reference with the T's. So you can see there's just day reference, and it gets up to day 40, and they reckon it's gone. That's when all the carotenoids, the yellows, activated. And then down here is the chlorophyll through the T graph down here too. You can see it's got its ADP and its ATP. It's the adenine triphosphate. That sits the cell currency on how it produces energy. So it needs, so you can see from the different nitrogen content to its different amount of energy it produces. And I found it pretty interesting to see a spike here once it's going through into the carotenoid pigment from the chlorophyll into the carotenoid, that it's got an ATP spike. It's pretty interesting, that. So, because a lot of people, you can activate the blue, it's the blue light that carotenoids pick up more so. That's why some growers have blue lights at the end of the cycle, and that's maybe a reference for that. So it might be more beneficial than not. So if this possibly test was done at a bit more blue or light, there might be a bit more higher. This might be the last one. Well-watered water activity versus water stressed. So if it's well watered, you're going to expect to see good growth. Everything's fine. Stomata open. The seed production's really good, and the chlorophyll pigments are nice and green. But if it's water stressed, it's the opposite virtually, and it's not good. So this is a visual on what a water stressed plant would look like. And see how its roots stretch more? It's because it's looking for water. So it's put a lot more of its growth and development instead of its growth and development up here in the flower top and canopy that we want, it's into producing more growth down here. And it's trying to pull it more so out of the leaves, which is the energy out of the leaves, as you saw from the last chart, for the energy that it makes. It's lowering down here, and it's just slowly killing itself, and that's all to do with the water. Yes, that'll do. Very good. Stop sharing. I'll see what else I missed. And say good day to Momatics. How you going, Momatics? Hope you're doing well, mate. what else was missed? Comparative genetics. Yes, I haven't talked about that one. What's in that one? Let's just share again and see what's going on. Wow. Ah, that was that study. That's right. This is the photoperiodism. This is the rad bit. Comparative genetics and flower behavior. Yeah, photoperiodism. Photoperiodism. Let's talk about that. So how do plants measure day length? Or why do humans go to sleep at night? Why do roosters sing at the same time every day? It's through photoperiodism or circadian rhythm, circadian clock. And the circadian clock, well, circa in Latin means around, and days means day. So around days. You know about the circadian clock. I'm not going to talk about that. But there's some different pathways in plants, how you can regulate them. And through the ELF3 gene, the early flowering gene, you can really maximize production. So where is this next chart? This one. Oh, no, that's how to extend it. The ELF3 gene. Oh, hang on. That's not it at all. No. A bit lost here. I know what I want. I want that one at the start. Not that one. Wrong window. Sorry. Bear with me. This is all today's stuff. See, I want the chart at the start. This one. Flowering times. So this shows that the origin of the genes depends on how long of the days that it flowers with. So if you've got a ruderalis mix or blend with it, or like it's crossed with an auto, you might be able to pull out the ELF3 gene, and that will give you flowering times of about 30 days here, or the ones I like are about 45. I've managed to do this, and I've got some hybrids that now there's no red pistils whatsoever at all after day 50. It's fully matured. The plant's matured, not just the buds matured. So the whole plant's fully matured, and that's to do with this ELF3 gene. So it's so beneficial. Now what else? There's some other stuff I'm going to share in this topic. So the ELF3 gene. Now what? Yeah, all right. If you've got stuff outdoors and you're thinking, how can I maximize it? Like, you should nearly have something outdoors if it's legal in your area, if there's no frost. So that's the time to put it out if you haven't got any frost. So once frost is over, or if you don't get frost, well, good, you manipulate it like this. So you play God, and that's how to do it outdoors anyway. We'll go on about it. That's how to do it. The difference in the daylight length makes a big difference too. This was a cool study done on the photoperiods of 10 up to 14 hours. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of the same cultivar were grown in different temps, and they're seeing what the outcomes were. And it's amazing. It's chunky under 10, and 12, it was a lot different. So what can be pulled up out of this is, there's other photos of this. So what can be pulled up out of this is, if you're having problems with your sativa or it's really stretching, maybe cut down the photo period to 10 hours and it might chunk it up. Remember, each hybrid's different these days, but this is just a cool study which is done from, I think there was 6 in here tested, and it just showed a big difference, chopping it down from 12 hours back to 10. Because the normal, everyone just has 12, but why not have 14 off, 10 on? It allows the dark growth in the Benson-Kelvin cycle to still, because the plant still grows when the lights are out, it just goes into the dark cycle. So that's it for that one. Actually, wasn't there something cool on this one too? I few back. Yeah, that's right. It shows that if you want to, because secondary metabolites are everything, and people go on about the UV in the atmosphere, and this just shows you how much the UV actually gets to the surface of the Earth, and it's so little. This is just an eye opener. It was amazed to me because you thought you could even leave things outside to sterilize it through UVC. Nope, that gets burned up in the ozone layer. What about vitamin B? Nope, that gets burned up mostly in the atmosphere as well. And then the reaching of the surface is UVA. So 90% of the ultraviolet or UV light that reaches the surface of the Earth is UVA. So that's pretty fine. So those people that grow in greenhouses, that would virtually shade out all of the UV, so they've got no UV. So that's why when you get seeds from breeders in greenhouses, they react differently when they're put out in the open sun. I think that's all. I'll just double check. I didn't go on about that comparative genetics. I suppose I could go on about that. I'll elaborate on that. That study was done on the day lengths. This one, I'll just have to open it first because you don't see that. Sorry about that. Wow. Here it is here. So this brought up that chart that I was talking about before. This chart here. So they said in this chart, this was the flowering times from the strong latitudinal gradient for genotypes grown in a uniform environment. The horizontal grey line represents the latitude at which flowering times of different cultivars were assessed, and that's at 25 north under field conditions for a short day plant like cannabis is under the 12 to 13 hours of daylight. What else is down below? Flowering gene identification. It's easy to identify if you've got the FLG3 gene, because you'll start and see it'll bulk a bit earlier. I find they bulk a bit earlier and they finish earlier. So you can't deny that. It's just morphogenic expression. Visually, you can see it fantastically. So it's this is a good gene transfer to play with. Yeah, something like, what's that day? I guess 15, 18 maybe, because they bulk early. It's really, really cool. There's a bit of taxidermy for you. Pause there. So you can go through them. I'm not going to read them all out. It's the development and flowering cycle. What's the point in this? Germination response. I think it's all pretty much covered. Yeah, I don't think that can really help anything from that. Cruising down. Oh, this is pretty cool. This is a summary of the flowering times in cannabis. So you can see the difference, study type, different gene expressions, and that's the different references for it. You can't click on it though, unfortunately. There was something cool in here, I thought I remember. No. Oh, onto it. Don't want to bore you. Come on, summary up in this. The traits. The 4 main stages of florogenesis, going through its flowering stage when it activated the florogen gene. Very good. Next. Oh, that's okay, a big, massive. Oh, this is the thing I want more so. The flowering database descriptions for cannabis putative flowering time genes. So they reckon they've identified 28 for aging, 7 for temperature, 49 for the circadian clock, which is more so on this one. That's the the ELF4 gene is the circadian clock. gibberellin. So all of these different things have contributed to the flowering time genes. Thermalization, cold responses. There's a few cool ways to activate those pathways. I'm not going to go on with those pathways, and unless you want me to really go on with it, I will. There's some of the genes responsible and their effects as they cascade down their pathways. It's a big news. Phosphohatid alethylene alonamide binding protein family. Yeah, see that? That's the word I tried to pronounce. Don't need to talk about that one bit. Temperature-dependent pathways. Well, you can watch that video and find out, which was easier, and watch in conclusions. Okay. That's concluded everything, I think. That was that reference before. If you want to pay for that $50, $51 a cost to get the paper, I think it's worthwhile if you're into mushrooms. I would, because it's a really good study to find out what the medicinal uses are, which is what it's all. So you don't want to go too much, too little type thing. Righto, that's it. Been through it all. Yep. Any questions? Please throw up your comments and questions now. It's been going for 41 minutes, 50 seconds. And next week, I've started to prepare a little one on terpenes. Oh, here's a... Hang on, I'm going to show you this first. I have to show you this. I had this sitting here from last week. I don't want it to sit here again. This. What was the point in showing? This is to do with the yeast farm, the fungi follow-up. They're the different types. Oh, this is to do with cannabis too. The different fungi that they pulled out of it. So they're different. That's a list of all the ones. That's the two: the penicillin and aspergillus, the type that only two they test for, even though they found all these other fungi in medical cannabis. So it's really bad. I'm just going to skim over it. I'm not going to go through it one bit. It just basically proved. Yeah, look at this. This is a really good photo. Electroscanning microscope of, I think that's fungi that have gotten on and broken down. Is that stigma? There's some trichomes there. I don't know, but that's fungi anyway that's gotten in and broken down. So you can see its effects. It just puts out that enzyme that depletes and breaks down everything. That's good in some instances. It helps not pollute the earth, but it's not good in some cases. So you just don't activate it. Don't bring it up in its moisture levels that it requires above 65 or 70%. And this is one you should include in your, that's a beneficial. Trichoderma hazarium. I'll use that one. That's a good one that combats all this. All right, that's it, I think. Yeah, they tested fresh flower, dried flower, and leaf litter that was on the ground. So around your plants too, I used to leave all my leaves in the pots to break down. I don't do that anymore because that can harbor bad microbes that you don't want, and it starts to bring in the saprophytes that are they're the things that break the material down, and then it brings in other problem things. So I only leave that now to the compost heap or to the vermicastings. I don't want that to happen in my pot. So yeah, that's a good little point to add. It's all right. That's it. That's it. Any questions? Any topics? Anything you'd like to add? please put them in now, because that's all for today that I've got prepared on slides, unless there's some questions or stuff. Next week I'll be talking on terpenes. There's a cool book put out called The Big Book of Terpenes, and I'd like to buy it. It's $162, but anyway, I can't. So if there's any subscribers or any rich people out there, please share some funds my way and I'll buy the book and I can discuss all the cool topics in it. There's there was one I'll be talking about next week. I'll give you a sneak peek. It's to do, it was way a massive eye-opener for me, because terps is everything. Because I consider us being, or myself, I'm a cannabinoid and terpene farmer and flavonoid farmer. I don't want the rest of the green leaf material and all that other rot that goes along with it if I don't happen to have it. But remember that there is properties inside of the green leaf material in the dermal tissue, in the edioblasts. There's other storage vacuoles. So, yeah. I was going to show, that's right, sneak peek, the terps. Terps. Terp Talk. Which one was it? Well, I'll show it. That'll be a screenshot. You can guarantee that one. What? Where'd that? Look at that. I just clicked on it and it didn't even come up. That was really strange. Now I'm sick of strange, confused. This is a pretty cool cross-sectional of a glandular trichome. But I wanted to show this about the different limonene. Gee whiz. Oh, that's right. The Google did some sort of bodgy update that I didn't want an update on. Frustrates me. There's The Big Book of Terps by Russ Hudson. He has expressed there's a few different scents of limonene. There's a D and an L. And for linalool, there's an S and an R. So just a big eye opener for me. So I commented back to him by saying, I'm happy for him to dial in our noses. That was the comment I put back. What's the name? I'd love to own that book myself. I thought I saw it for one. Yeah, it probably is 125 US, but maybe 160 Australian. There's a book. There's a number 2 coming out soon that he's updated. That's got caryophyllene. Because I said in the first one, I said, "Where's caryophyllene?" And he said, "It's coming out in the next one." So waiting for the second book to come out very, very soon. So if people could subscribe a bit more and stuff like that, I'd be able to get it, and I'd love to get it. Well, actually, I'll end up buying it. Yeah, probably next year. But yeah, I think it's an asset because it's just to use it for medicine. It's just a book I want in my kit. Righto. So it's The Big Book of Terps. Terps to be good. So next week I'll be talking more about the terpenes and how to maximize the terpenes and what they do, and to unlock your secondary metabolite pathway in your medical cannabis plants so you can get more benefits from it. And it was amazing how you can get different terpene profiles out of one same mother plant just from activating different pathways. Very cool. Right, I'm starting to ramble a bit, I think, here. I can talk more about the terps next week, I think. Chat's not really going off. There's not much real questions and stuff. And so I'm going to, I think, say thanks to everybody for rocking up again, and thanks to everybody for listening. And I hope today helped. And in 7 days' time, I'll be back again doing it all again. And I appreciate the people who have subscribed and helped monetary-wise, because really so little, I virtually get nothing. So things like that just do help a long way. They do help to get books, and it'll all be spent on medical cannabis stuff. It won't be towards me if I was to get any money, because most of my hobby money does go towards that anyway. Having a passion is good. So yes, an ad cut you off. Oh, it's okay. An ad cut you off? Yes, an ad cut you off. What, an ad come out while it's live? Is that what you were saying? That's pretty strange. So there's ad breaks. How do I know it didn't come up here that it was an ad? Anyway, that's money though. Oh, I wonder if YouTube picked up on that and they could see me trying to say I'd like to get that terpene book, and they're just trying to help me. Oh, good on you. Thank you. Yes. Thanks to people up today. Thank you. Thank you, everybody else in chat. Thank you for listening too. I appreciate it lots. I'll see you next week. 7 days time to do it all again, and hopefully make you happy too. Happy breeding, happy growing, and good health to you all. Bye-bye.